Kevin, what's going on, man?
Josh, how you doing, man? And the folks out there listening and watching, welcome to Standout Baseball, our podcast. We're going to just jam it up, Josh. Looking forward to speaking with you about some playoff baseball. What you got for me?
I don't know, man. It's a rough day here in Atlanta. We had to watch that Game 3 debacle last night that we'll get into a little bit, but it's a tough one, man. But there's always another day. Always another day. So. Dude, let's just dive right in, man. We'll save some Braves talk here for a minute, but some crazy things happened in the playoffs so far. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, first and foremost, there's a lot of good series going on here. We've had a surprising new teams come into the playoff picture. We can't go past a couple of really disappointing series for some powerhouse teams that took it from the beginning to the end and established their dominance, early on in the season, maintained through this all-star break, and really just surprisingly rolled over in the playoffs. I mean, the playoffs, we always talk about the playoffs being a different ball game, but let's recap just briefly the series with the Dodgers and the Orioles series. I mean, surprising to you, these guys got swept?
Oh yeah. There's all kinds of talk right now about the whole layoff and this and that and the other. And I buy into all that. To me, it's somewhat of a shame. You want your teams that have been successful throughout the year, generated that buzz to still be playing. But man, Orioles and Dodgers both. Orioles weren't as surprising to me simply because it's new to them, right? This is the first year they've been good in a long time. They got a lot of really young, talented players that are still learning, how to win big games. The Dodgers, on the other hand, the pitching issues that they had obviously came to fruition, but man, I didn't see that lineup going cold like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's similar to the Braves lineup, right? These are the two most potent offenses, and them, going 14, 15 innings without scoring a run. And who would have ever predicted that that the Arizona Diamondbacks would just ambush them like that in these innings, and put up just crooked numbers immediately. They just took the win out of them, especially at Dodger Stadium. So it's a bummer. I saw a little bit of a write up about Mookie Betts saying that a lot of pressure's on his shoulders. He's one of the superstars in our league, top 5 guys in the league here, and he didn't have it in the cards.
Yeah, I think I read this morning him and Freddie were combined 1 for 21 in the series. And, as we're kind of feeling the same pain with the Braves right now and some of their key guys, it's hard to win games when your pitching is not holding the other team and the 2 players you depend on to really lead and be the catalyst of an offense, just don't have it for a couple of days. And that's the thing too, that I find so interesting is, you get all these baseball pundits and Twitter experts, giving their opinions on all these things. We got to be honest too, though. I mean, how many times did these guys have a stretch where they were 0 for 10, 1 for 10 throughout a season? Over 162 games, that's going to happen 6, 7, 8, 12, 15 times, right? So the sample size of the playoff is so small, and baseball is such a unique game in that the main variable of a team changes every single game. Like for a football team, the quarterback is out there, unless there's an injury, every single game. Well, your pitcher's out there every 5th game. And so you get a lot of different sub dynamics underneath that in terms of matchups and different things that I think just plays to the craziness that baseball is, and especially at this time of year when you've only got to win, 3 games to advance and move on.
Yeah, there's something to be said. When you're winning 100 games a year, the pressure is really flat on your shoulders. It's the advantage of the underdog in the situation. That's why, through the existence of the wild card's always like the lottery. Give me $1 in a dream, right? And these guys they're in there and they're playing with house money.
Yeah,
the guys are showing you that right now. The Phillies, that's a whole different world there. But you give somebody an opportunity to get into the playoffs, magic can happen. You're not facing number 4s and 5s anymore in rotations. You're facing your 1, 2s, and 3s, and then the 1s, 2s again on short rest, and you're just pitching lights out. So it's a different type of ball game in the playoffs, man.
Well, and I think that segues neatly into one of the other teams remaining we haven't mentioned yet that's advanced yesterday, the Houston Astros.
Yeah.
Right. Like, these guys just know how to do it. I mean, what are your thoughts on them?
Yeah, listen, I mean, I think first and foremost, I think we're not all perfect, right? I mean, I think they've been used as the example of what not to do with the whole cheating scandal or whatnot. But say what you want, these guys are modern day dynasty of baseball. The last time we've seen a run like this was those San Francisco Giants that put a run together. Every other year they're winning the World Series. I think anybody would trade that in. The Dodgers sure would. So it's but these guys are consistent. They got consistent coaching. They got consistent players being in there. Correa being on the other side of the dugout for the first time, showed emotion in the field, getting really ticked off. You really don't see that from that dude. He definitely wanted it. But Houston is just the classic organization right now. Who would have ever thought that your Donnie Alvarez is going to go out there and just and show up like in a big poppy form?
Yeah,
carry a team there. These guys are like, you want to talk about contrasting differences. That's the difference between the Astros and the Orioles in this equation here. The Orioles are just deer in the headlights. We won it here, and the Astros are like, we had a tight race all year long with the Mariners and the Rangers and seeing what's going on. And there's a very good chance that it can be a lone star ALCS going out there ready to rock and roll. That'd be pretty interesting to see. But we'll see how that works out.
So what are your thoughts? We kind of hit on it earlier, man, but with the whole week off, like, as with the experience that you've had, like what are your thoughts on rewarding these first place and second place teams with 5 days to chill?
Yeah, this isn't like a first round bye of football. I mean, the buys in football, they need that time to strategize and with such a vicious game to heal up. The biggest gap, there's a 2-week gap between the NFC AFC championship game right before the Super Bowl. Baseball's a rhythm game. We know that from spring training all the way up until April and May, where hitters just need that time. They need the weather to heat up. They need things to go. So when you're messing with that tempo and that continuity and their rhythm, it's all rhythmic, man. It's really, really tough. I think Derek Jeter spoke to it a little bit. It's the reason why Braves fans weren't too keen on him saying we favor the Phillies. But I think it's more of just the Phillies been battling here. They know they're like, at the end of the day, we are the NL champions, not the Braves. And the Braves have been just the class of baseball for, years, for decades, and that's the team to beat. And in my opinion, they're still the best lineup out there. But
yeah,
do I think it's a disadvantage? That's debatable to me personally. I think it is. I mean, this game is about rhythm. It's the reason why. It's a reason why they call timeout in those weird times when the pitcher's in rhythm, and they do these strategies of like, I got something in my eye, coach, can you check it out? If someone's in sync, someone's in rhythm, you get it going. I was at that game Monday night with the Braves Phils, and Max Fried didn't have his tempo. It was hesitant. He was nitpicking. And when you saw across the dugout, you got Zach Wheeler on the mound. He was going right after those guys.
Yeah,
right after those guys and pounding the zone. It's just rhythm. And Atlanta, when they're playing, they were steamrolling dudes, steamrolling people, and they just need to catch their mojo back. And this is the big game for them. Their season's on right now.
Well, hey, to put some numbers to that rhythm explanation you gave, which I totally agree with, you got 162 game regular season, and I'll probably butcher this by a day or two, but I think they get 22 off days, not counting the All-Star break. So you add in the All-Star break of 4, 22, 26. So in 186 days, you play 162 games. And then you give them 5 days off at the end of that. You're already tired. And I can see how they come out flat. I mean, between Braves, Orioles, and Dodgers, who all won over 100 games, their record right now is 1-7. I'm sorry, 1-8. Yeah. And 6 of those losses were at home. I'm sorry, 5. 2 for the Orioles, 2 for the Dodgers, and 1 for the Braves so far. So 5 of those losses have been home games that they've been rewarded with. So I think there's something to be said. I'll be interested to see what MLB considers. It's a 2-year sample size. That's still really, really small. And to be honest, if you go back ever since the wild card became a thing, and in the 3 division race for that matter back in the 90s, it's not a majority of the time that the best team in baseball wins the World Series. No. And that, again, is why it's unlike any other sport. in the way that the playoff animal is. But moving on, Braves Phils, kind of talked about what's happened up to this point. Any other thoughts on what you've seen?
Yeah, you know what? I think there's a huge momentum shift right there. I mean, obviously that ending play, in game 2, right?
Mhm.
Game 2 to split that series over there in Atlanta. I mean, man, they gave Harper a hard time out there. You know what I'm saying? And doing that, so that guy plays hard. He's aggressive that way. But Michael Harris is the man out there. Even that effort last night's home run, that guy almost climbed over the wall. I mean, he's showing that.
I thought he was going to break his back. Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, but I'll take guys like that, dude. I want guys that are hard that way, and they rub people the wrong way, and say what you want. That was a defensive swing. The stadium was literally shaking at the end of that game. But at the end of the day, Philadelphia's been there, done that. They too are playing with house money. If they lose this series, it's just Atlanta's series, Yeah. I don't think they're thinking that way. And as much as they want to, Atlanta fans think, well, it's a hostile environment in Philadelphia. It's white noise to these guys. These guys don't care. They don't care. I mean, these guys are hooting and hollering.
Yeah.
It's all white noise. These guys are pros. These guys are used to doing this. These guys have really smacked Philadelphia around at their own home ballpark. Yeah, the lights are brighter, but these Braves right now, when you sit and wait and you're idling, it also helps you. It also plays into just overthinking things. And I think these guys are trying way too hard. I want that swag back. Where's that Euro step stuff that Acuna does right now? Ozzie Albies, can we cut you swing down, put the ball in play? Austin Riley is a G. That dude is a staple there. And where's Matt Olson? Matt Olson needs to – we need to see this guy go. And I happen to think that this is the game for him. I think this is the game where the Wheelers and the Nolas are put to the side. And the Braves have got to, I think you mentioned just off screen, you mentioned it, that you want to see a better approach. And me too. I mean, those guys.
What I want to see are competitive at bats where we have aggressive swings being taken. As we just watched too many times, let a fastball go by and then you swing at a curveball in the dirt and now you're in an 0-2 hole. And they've been striking out way more in this series than they have in the regular season too. But just be competitive up there. Have some energy in the box. And I think if they do that, I mean, we saw even in game 2, they didn't have that many good at bats, but they had 2 really good at bats with men on base, and that's the difference in the ball game, right? You don't have to have 15 of them like we saw in the regular season so often. Just have a few. You're under the microscope, and I agree with you. And I think these guys can cloud out the noise. I don't think that is a huge factor for them. I just think there needs to be some specific approach. I mean, that's something I thought the Phillies have done really well. Opposite field hits. I mean, they got 3 off Fried, with a couple of flares over infielders to get things started and keep things going. And, and you look last night, Bryce Elder at this point has given up 1 run. Trey Turner's up to bat with a man on second at that point. Gives up all Trey Turner does is put the ball in play. Infield single to the shortstop. He didn't crush it. He just got it and, kept the inning going. And the Phillies have taken advantage of those situations like we saw with Harper last night. So do want to ask you about Harper because this has been a big talking point on sports talk here in Atlanta for sure. The jab allegedly from Arcia, Harper's response. What are your thoughts on the whole thing?
Listen, being in Vegas around those years, I've seen Harper as a kid, as a teenager. I mean, this is the same guy that's played with. I mean, it's a different ball game out there. He steps between the lines. He's ready to go. He's a throwback dude. Love him or hate him. This kid as a teenager was blowing kisses and winking at pitchers after he dropped bombs. There's a lot of guys who talk the talk and don't walk it. He does it. Whether Arcia said that or not, I'm not trying to toy around with those guys like that. I think those are the guys you got to just shut your mouth and keep playing. The guy, he got doubled off for playing it hard. I mean, he's going out there rounding the base. Heavy criticism for it, but Michael Harris doesn't come up with that ball. It's ricocheting off the wall. The ball is in Acuna's hands. I don't care if he's rounding second base. Acuna gets that ball, he's going to throw 115 to home plate, and it's going to be a bang bang play. Yeah. That's the only chance you have to tie this game up. So going to say that, I mean, yeah, I remember seeing that there, and as just being a baseball fan, I mean, he pimped it for a bit. That first shot was a moonshot, and as he's supposed to. I mean, Elder just left it up down the middle. You can't make a mistake like that to that guy. But to stare down the shortstop there is like, all right, this is the battle. This is competition at its best. Arcia, do something about it. You know, you're not going to go. This isn't the time to put one in his ribs. This is playoffs. You know, April, May, when they first see each other right now, there might be some
First game next year. They open the season together.
First game. Right now, his jersey should read 3.4 with a dirt stain right between his 3 and 4. But, you know, you got to respect the guy's game. He's doing his thing, you know, and because I know I've got friends that are Phillies fans right now. They're sick and tired, especially Marlins fans, sick and tired of Acuna's antics.
Yeah.
You know, but that guy is a top tier guy. So, yeah, you know, he brings the energy. You're talking about more energetic at bats. He's doing it. You know, you got Castellanos going out there and, you know, and serving the ball to right center field and driving the ball deep that direction. And these guys really teed off last night and put up those extra numbers. They didn't leave runners on base, because that was the difference between game 2, winning and losing. They left a lot of base runners on.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Atlanta get out there, and they got to look at each other and say, this is it. Like, our offense is the best out there. We got to go. This is a heavyweight fight. This series is probably the most exciting series of all of them. Yeah. And if they think they can get through, both these teams, when they advance to the next round, they're going to face a scrappy Diamondbacks team that got wore out by the Dodgers all year long. Another team that's that just has they got nothing to lose, you know. And if you think the Astros are down and out, we'll see. We'll see how that goes out there, but you know, we'll see.
I want to go back to the Harper Arcia thing for just a minute.
Of course.
I think it's an absolute non-story. I think it's ridiculous that it was even brought up. You know, as the times that we've spent in locker rooms, in clubhouses, you know, as players, as coaches, I've heard 1 billion times worse stuff said about opponents, about actions, about things that happen on the field, and stuff that should be stay in the clubhouse. Like, I don't know, you know, this reporter, whoever overheard it, you know, it got shared. I don't think it was meant with any intent from Arcia. I think it was, you know, meant to be something that the team was in celebration mode. But I also, you know, I don't love what Bryce Harper did, but he's not my guy, right? My guy's Acuna here. And so I say that, and also say, if we don't want him to stare down our shortstop, don't throw him a slider 85 miles an hour down the middle that he can crush. You know, like, win on the field, lose on the field, and like, these things will go away. Like, this would have been a non-story if Elder had made a good pitch. It's, you know,
and that's it. I mean, look what Max Fried did that day. Shut him pretty much down that way, you know, and kept him off balance. Listen, with the whole Bryce Harper Arcia stuff right now, it is a non-story. You know what's, I can guarantee you that after Bryce Harper got doubled off that game 2, that all Philadelphia fans had way worse things to say about Bryce Harper than Arcia did. I can bet everything I got on it. Brutal, you know, especially the guys that don't know anything about baseball.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Well, tell me this: what are your thoughts on tonight, and you know, possibly into a Saturday?
I do believe this is going to go game 5. It's always going to be a long series. The Braves got to come out and hit. This is not going to be one of those games. If the Braves don't hit, they lose. They get packed up. They're going home. You know, I think the Braves have got to score a minimum of 5 runs tonight. It's going to be a slugfest. You know, they don't have the front line starters going today. The bullpen's going to see a lot to it there, you know, but this is the playoffs, man. Who knows? You know, I mean, would you be surprised if it's a 2-0 ball game, 2-1 ball game? Probably not, you know, but I see the Braves winning this game 7-4. And then you got Zach Wheeler and Max Fried doing it back again, or Strider going tonight.
Strider's pitching tonight. It would be Fried on a Friday. So he's facing Ranger Suarez, who, you know, if I had to pick a Phillies starter to face, that's who I'm glad the Bravos are facing. But he pitched pretty well last time. He's done okay against him throughout the season. I think they'll win tonight too. I think Strider is going to feed off that energy at Citizens Bank. I think he's that type of player.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to hit. I think we'll get a handful of key knocks to get enough in. And, we get it back to Saturday, and then it's Atlanta's turn to, turn up their volume and see what can come of it. But it's been a fun series. Well, I take that back. Game 2 was fun. And much like a lot of the other playoff games, they haven't really been that close. There have not been that many late game opportunities for people to put it out there on the line. And I think we'll probably see that tonight. I see this one going down to the wire. So
I think so too, man. So it's going to be great baseball. It's great to catch up with you with it. Cause I know you're a diehard Braves fan right now, and and good luck to you. We got friends that are Phillies fans and, Mets fans.
It's
right?
fun, man. It's fun. But hey, before we get out of here, I think one thing I did want to ask you about, for those of you guys, watching, listening to this, with Standout Baseball, we do a ton of work with young players and volunteer coaches. And a lot of guys that don't necessarily know the game, like we're talking about right now. So for any youth coaches that are looking at this, what kind of takeaways, do you think, related to the way the players, coaches carry themselves, decisions that they've made?
Yeah, there's a lot going on here. When you're talking about, the trust in the process and really believing and trusting in your players, right? I don't think a coach is ever going to be upset with, those hard physical errors. There's mistakes that happen. Just these guys are playing hard, just minimize the mental mistakes. But when you bring it back down to the youth level here, you're seeing guys play the game hard and having fun doing it.
Yeah.
They're putting stuff behind the scenes where no one's watching. I've seen Harper the Cages, getting after it. I'm sure other people have seen these other players getting after it local here too, in the Atlanta area. These guys work really hard and deserve everything they get, man. These guys they put their livelihood into it, and it starts from when they're little, and letting these and trusting kids, like empowering the youth baseball culture is where it's at. Like, get out of their own way. When it comes to game time, if you're a coach to say less and let these guys figure it out there, you're gonna have a bunch of kids that are just empowered and running their own game, man. And that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it.
Good answer, man. I agree. I like watching these coaches sit back and stay calm.
Yeah.
You look at Snicker last night, and he's not ranting and raving. He's not, throwing, Gatorade bottles all over the dugout. He's stoic. And I think that is, something, obviously there's a lot more teaching involved in the ages that we work with, because there's still so much to learn for these kids. But I think, setting the tone with that mentality that, hey, this is a game and we're going to get to do this again tomorrow. And, obviously Braves may not get to do it tomorrow if they don't play tonight, but, seeing Snit, seeing some of these other guys in the face of adversity really keep that calm within the team. I mean, I would love to hear what gets said in the clubhouse, because I think it's probably very similar to the demeanor that we see on the field. And for the young players, I mean, you said it best, man. It's, watching these guys under the microscope like this and just seeing the attention to detail. And, we talk to kids all the time about prep steps and getting, pre-pitch, be ready. The first step is not once the ball is hit. The first step is be ready before that pitch is ever thrown. And to be able to see these guys at the highest level getting paid millions of dollars doing that, I think it's really cool for the young people. And like my son, who's 10, to be able to sit there and watch and show him, like, you see how he got ready for this? That's the only way he was able to get there. Or, understanding, hey, he just threw me this pitch, so it is likely that this is coming next. You're thinking a step ahead. And so I think there's all kinds of lessons that we can carry forward as coaches, and, not just take the game as entertainment, as dads and sons, but also as, hey, there are lessons to be learned from this moment that we are watching right now. So I'm excited to watch more, man.
Yeah, it's great. And I'll conclude with this. I mean, you're talking about your son, 10 years old. My son is 6. The value of just watching a baseball game.
Yeah.
Watching a game within a game and just seeing how that works and how they're engaged and their little minds process things. You know, let them do it, guys. Let them mimic it. You know, we got, in the Atlanta area, everybody wants to bat like Ozzy Albies and have the Acuna swing. And the Philadelphia area, people looking like Bryce Harper and still people looking like Chase Utley out there. I've got my son looking like he went from Francisco Lindor to Francisco Alvarez in about 2 weeks. And that's their creative expression, like you always mention. And I think let them fall in love with the game first and let them lead you towards where they want to go to. And it's our job to, as dads, as coaches, as mentors, to just stand behind their shoulders and let them lead us. And if there's a little potholes there, whatnot, like, hey, watch out your right side. But you're running the show because as adults, we get in front of their vantage point and their view too many times, and they can't see over our big bodies. And by the time we step away, they're just shocked with it, and they just don't fall in love with the game first. So let's keep doing that. Let's keep watching the game, keep loving it, and keep our kids involved in it.
Yeah, man. Well, great talk, and
likewise, man.
We'll look forward to doing this soon, guys.
Let's do it up there. So for Josh and Kevin here, Standout Baseball, look forward to hearing from you soon, and until next time.